They say that one moment can change your entire life. For me, that moment came during a hurricane when I opened my door to find Rebecca Martinez shivering on my doorstep, her car submerged in the flooded creek behind my property, her eyes filled with fear and something else I couldn't quite name, desperation mixed with determination. My name is Marcus Flynn, and at 33 years old, I was still a virgin. Not by choice, exactly, but by circumstance. I'd spent my 20s caring for my paralyzed younger sister after a diving accident took away her ability to walk. While my college friends were partying, dating, and living their lives, I was learning physical therapy techniques, fighting with insurance companies, and watching Emma slowly rebuild her life one painful day at a time. When Emma finally moved into an assisted living facility that gave her independence, her choice, not mine, I found myself alone in our family's lakeside cabin in rural Michigan, working remotely as a software developer. I'd become so accustomed to solitude that I'd forgotten how to be around people, especially women. My few attempts at dating had been disasters, awkward silences, nervous stammering, and the inevitable moment when I'd have to explain that yes, at my age, I'd never been intimate with anyone. The shame of it ate at me. Not because I believed my worth was tied to sexual experience, but because I felt like I'd missed some crucial chapter of human development. I was a grown man who didn't know how to touch a woman, how to read signals, how to be vulnerable in that way. So I'd stopped trying, accepting my isolation as permanent. Then came that October night when Hurricane Patricia veered inland with unexpected fury. I was working on a coding project when the power flickered and died. The storm had been predicted, but not its intensity. Rain hammered against the windows like bullets, and the wind made the old cabin groan and shake. I lit candles and oil lamps, grateful for the fireplace and the stack of dry wood I'd prepared. That's when I heard the pounding on my door. Rebecca practically fell into my arms when I opened it. She was drenched, shaking violently, her lips blue with cold. She couldn't have weighed more than 120 pounds, and she looked like a drowned cat, if cats could look simultaneously terrified and fierce. "Please," she gasped. "My car went into the water. My phone's dead. I saw your lights." I didn't hesitate. I pulled her inside, kicked the door shut against the howling wind, and immediately started stripping off her wet jacket. "Bathroom's there," I said, pointing. "Hot shower, now. I'll find you dry clothes." While she showered, I built up the fire and searched through my sister's old things. Emma had left some clothes behind when she moved out. I found sweatpants, a warm sweater, thick socks. When Rebecca emerged, her dark hair dripping, her olive skin slowly regaining color, I handed her the clothes without meeting her eyes. "Thank you," she said, her voice still shaky. "I'm Rebecca. Rebecca Martinez. Marcus Flynn." I gestured to the couch near the fire. "Sit. I'll make tea." As I prepared chamomile tea with honey, something Emma always said helped with shock, I snuck glances at my unexpected guest. She looked to be around 40, with fine lines around her eyes that spoke of both laughter and grief. There was something self-possessed about her, even soaked and shivering in borrowed clothes. "I'm a widow," she said suddenly, as if reading my mind. 2 years now. Miguel died of cancer. Lung cancer, and he never smoked a day in his life. She laughed bitterly. "Life's funny that way." "I'm sorry," I said, handing her the tea. She studied me over the rim of her mug. "You live here alone?" "Yes. It was my family's cabin. My sister and I grew up here." "Was?" I explained about Emma, about the accident, about the years of caregiving. I didn't usually share so much, but something about the storm, the isolation, the intimacy of the moment made words pour out of me. Rebecca listened with an intensity that was almost uncomfortable. When I finished, she said, "You gave up your 20s for your sister. That's beautiful and terrible at the same time." "I'd do it again," I said quickly. "I know you would. That's what makes it beautiful." She paused. But it's also terrible because you sacrificed yourself. And I bet you didn't even realize you were doing it. Her words hit me like a physical blow because they were true. I had sacrificed myself, my social life, my romantic life, my sexual awakening, all of it gone while I focused on Emma's needs. The storm's supposed to last 2, maybe 3 days, I said, changing the subject. The roads won't be passable until it's over. You're welcome to stay. I don't have much choice, she said, but she smiled. Thank you, Marcus. Truly. I showed her to Emma's old room, gave her privacy. But around midnight, I heard crying, deep, racking sobs that made my chest ache. I stood outside her door, debating, until I couldn't stand it anymore. I knocked softly. Rebecca? Are you okay? No, came her muffled voice. I'm not. Come in. She sat on the bed, tears streaming down her face, holding a photo on her phone, her and a handsome Latino man, both laughing on a beach somewhere. That's Miguel, she said. This was our last vacation before he got sick. He was 44. We'd been married 20 years. High school sweethearts. She looked up at me with devastated eyes. Do you know what it's like to sleep next to someone for 20 years and then suddenly sleep alone? Your body doesn't know what to do. You reach out in the middle of the night and there's just emptiness. I sat beside her on the bed, maintaining careful distance. I can't imagine. You sleep alone every night. How do you stand it? I don't know anything else, I admitted. I've never shared a bed with anyone. Never had a girlfriend. Never even kissed anyone. Rebecca's eyes widened. Never. The shame burned in my chest, but I pushed through it. Never. I spent my 20s with Emma. By the time she didn't need me anymore, I'd forgotten how to connect with people. How to date. How to be normal. There's no such thing as normal, Rebecca said fiercely. You think I'm normal? I'm 41 years old and I'm terrified every single day. Terrified of the rest of my life stretching out alone. Terrified that I'll never feel a man's arms around me again. Terrified that I'll forget what Miguel's touch felt like. We sat in silence, two lonely people united by our different brands of isolation. Can I ask you something? Rebecca said finally. Anything. Would you hold me? Just for tonight. I just need to feel, not alone. My heart started racing. I don't know if that's. I'm not asking for sex, she said quickly. I'm just asking for human contact. Warmth. Presence. Can you give me that? I should have said no. I should have maintained boundaries. But looking at her tear-stained face, feeling the echo of my own desperate loneliness, I couldn't refuse. Okay, I whispered. She moved over in the bed, and I lay down beside her, stiff and awkward. She turned toward me and pressed her face against my chest, and I wrapped my arms around her, feeling her warmth, her softness, the rapid beating of her heart against mine. Thank you, she breathed. Thank you for not making me explain why I need this. We lay like that for hours, neither of us sleeping, both of us afraid to break the spell. And something shifted in me that night, some frozen part of me that had been locked away for decades began, slowly, to thaw. I woke up the next morning with Rebecca still in my arms. Sunlight filtered weakly through the storm clouds, and rain continued to drum against the windows, but the worst of Hurricane Patricia had passed overhead. What remained was a steady deluge that would keep us isolated for at least another day, maybe 2. Rebecca stirred, her eyes fluttering open. For a moment, confusion crossed her face, then memory returned and she relaxed against me. Good morning, she murmured. Morning, I said, my voice rough. How did you sleep? Better than I have in 2 years. She pulled back slightly to look at me. And you? I didn't sleep much. I admitted. I was too aware of everything. She smiled gently. Me too. We got up, and I made breakfast on the camp stove, scrambled eggs, toast, coffee. We ate in comfortable silence, the intimacy of the night before still hanging between us like a secret. After breakfast, Rebecca helped me check the windows and reinforce a loose shutter. Working together felt natural, easy. She was competent and calm, and I found myself relaxing around her in a way I never had with women before. Tell me about your marriage, I said as we sat by the fire later that morning. If you want to. Rebecca was quiet for a long moment. Miguel was my everything, she said finally. We met when I was 16. He was 17, new to our school, and he had this smile that lit up the whole room. We fell in love fast and hard, the way teenagers do. Everyone said we were too young, that it wouldn't last. We got married at 21, and everyone said we'd grow apart. She smiled sadly. We didn't. We grew together. Built a life together. We never had kids, couldn't, but we had each other, and that was enough. What was he like? Funny. Kind. Patient. He taught high school history and coached baseball. He made me laugh every single day. Tears slipped down her cheeks. And then one day he started coughing. 6 months later, he was gone. Stage 4 lung cancer. It moved so fast. I reached out and took her hand, and she squeezed it gratefully. What about you? She asked. Have you ever been in love? I don't think so, I said honestly. I had crushes in high school, but after the accident with Emma, I put all that aside. And now I don't even know what love feels like. Romantic love, I mean. Do you want to know? Rebecca asked, her dark eyes searching mine. Yes, I whispered. But I'm terrified of it. Why? Because I don't know how to do it. How to be intimate. How to be vulnerable like that. I'm 33 years old and I've never even kissed someone. What woman would want to deal with that level of inexperience? Rebecca moved closer on the couch. Marcus, can I tell you something? I nodded, my mouth dry. Experience isn't what makes intimacy good. Presence is. Attention is. Caring about your partner's pleasure and comfort is. Some of the best lovers I know about weren't experienced, they were just fully present and genuinely caring. She paused. You've already shown me more emotional intimacy in one night than most people achieve in months. You held me when I needed it. You listened without judgment. You made me feel safe. That's what matters. But the physical part can be taught. Can be learned. If both people care about each other. She reached up and touched my face, and I froze. Marcus, do you trust me? I barely know you, I said, but even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. The intensity of our shared isolation, the vulnerability we'd shown each other, it had created a bond that felt deeper than time could measure. I know, she said. But do you trust me right now, in this moment? Yes. Then let me show you something. Let me teach you something. Not sex, she added quickly, seeing my panic. Just, connection. Physical connection. The basics that you missed. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might burst from my chest. Okay. Rebecca took both my hands and placed them on her waist. This is where you start, she said softly. Just touching, no pressure, no expectation. Feel the warmth of another person. Feel the connection. I could feel her breathing, feel the curve of her waist under my hands. It was overwhelming and terrifying and thrilling all at once. Now, she said, I'm going to kiss you. Your first kiss. And I want you to just feel it. Don't worry about doing it right. Just be present. She leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted. But I didn't want to. I'd waited 33 years for this moment, and I wasn't going to run from it now. Her lips touched mine, soft and warm. It was gentle, chaste almost, but it felt like electricity running through my entire body. When she pulled back, I was breathless. "How was that?" she asked, smiling. "Overwhelming," I admitted. "Good, overwhelming. Want to try again?" This time I initiated it, leaning in to kiss her. It was awkward. I didn't know where to put my hands, how to angle my head, but Rebecca guided me gently, showing me without words. The kiss deepened, and I felt something awakening in me, something primal and hungry that I'd kept locked away for so long. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. That was... I couldn't find words. "That was a good start," Rebecca said. She stood up, taking my hand. "Come with me." She led me to the bedroom, and my panic returned. "Rebecca, I don't think. We're not having sex," she said firmly. "But I want to teach you about touch. About intimacy. About connection. If you're willing." I swallowed hard. "I'm willing. But I'm also terrified." "I know. So am I." She smiled sadly. "I haven't touched anyone since Miguel died. Haven't wanted to. But something about you, about this situation. I feel safe with you. And maybe we can help each other learn to feel again." We lay on the bed, facing each other. Rebecca took my hand and placed it on her heart. "Feel that?" she asked. "Feel it beating?" I nodded, overwhelmed by the intimacy of it. "That's the first thing you need to understand about physical intimacy," she said. "It's not about technique or experience. It's about connection. It's about being present with another person's humanity." She guided my hand to her face, showing me how to touch gently, exploring. Then she did the same to me, her fingers tracing my features with a tenderness that made my eyes sting with unexpected tears. "You're crying," she said softly. "I didn't know," I whispered. "I didn't know touch could feel like this." "Like what?" "Like coming home." Rebecca's own eyes filled with tears. "Oh, Marcus. You beautiful, beautiful man." We spent that afternoon in a cocoon of gentle exploration. Not sexual, not yet, but intimate in ways I'd never imagined. She showed me how to hold someone, how to read their body's responses, how to communicate without words. And I, in turn, gave her what she needed: presence, attention, a safe space to rediscover her own capacity for physical connection. That night, we slept together again, but this time there was no awkwardness. We fit together like pieces of a puzzle, her back against my chest, my arms around her, both of us finally not alone. The third day brought a break in the storm. The rain had stopped, and weak sunlight filtered through breaking clouds. The roads would be passable by afternoon. Our time together was ending, and we both knew it. We made breakfast together, a domestic dance that felt both new and ancient. Rebecca hummed while she cooked, and I realized I was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in years. "I have to leave today," Rebecca said as we ate. "I have a life in Chicago. A job. Responsibilities." "I know," I said, though my chest ached at the thought. "But I don't want to," she continued. "I don't want this to end. These 3 days with you. Marcus, you've given me something I thought was dead. You've reminded me that I can feel again, that I can connect with someone, that maybe there's still life ahead of me instead of just survival." "You've given me something too," I said. "You've shown me that my inexperience isn't something to be ashamed of. That intimacy isn't about checking off boxes or meeting some imagined standard. It's about being fully present with another person. Being vulnerable. Being real." Rebecca reached across the table and took my hand. "Last night, before we went to sleep, you asked me something. Do you remember?" I did. In the darkness, holding her close, I'd whispered, "Will you teach me everything? Will you show me what it means to be with someone?" "I remember," I said. I want to say yes, she said. But I need you to understand something first. I'm not looking for a teacher-student thing. I'm not some experienced woman who's going to deflower you and send you on your way. She squeezed my hand. If we do this, if we take that final step, it needs to mean something. For both of us. It does mean something, I said. Rebecca, I know we've only known each other 3 days. I know this is crazy. But I feel more for you than I've felt for anyone in my entire life. You've seen parts of me I've never shown anyone. And I think I'm falling in love with you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I think I'm falling in love with you too. And that terrifies me because Miguel was supposed to be my forever. Loving someone else feels like betrayal. Or it feels like proof that love doesn't die when someone does, I said softly. The love you had for Miguel, it's still there. It always will be. But that doesn't mean you can't make room for new love. Different love. Rebecca stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the clearing sky. When she turned back to me, there was resolution in her eyes. Make love to me, she said. Not just sex. Not just teaching. Make love to me because you care about me and I care about you and we both deserve to feel connected to another human being. I stood, my legs shaky, and crossed to her. I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. We'll figure it out together. What happened next was clumsy and beautiful and tender and overwhelming. Rebecca led me to the bedroom, and we undressed each other slowly, both nervous, both carrying our own fears and scars. She bore the marks of grief, a body that had forgotten how to be desired. I bore the marks of inexperience, a body that had never known another's touch. But we were gentle with each other. Patient. When I fumbled, she guided me with soft words and softer touches. When she cried, missing Miguel even as she was present with me, I held her and told her it was okay to grieve and love at the same time. The physical act itself was brief, embarrassingly brief, if I'm honest. But Rebecca assured me that was normal for a first time, that what mattered wasn't duration but connection. And we had that in abundance. Afterward, we lay tangled together, both of us processing what had happened. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For being patient. For being kind. For not making me feel inadequate. Marcus, you could never be inadequate. Do you know what you gave me just now? What? Hope. Hope that I can have a physical connection with someone again. Hope that my body isn't just a monument to grief. Hope that maybe, somehow, I can build a new life. She kissed my shoulder. You gave me hope. We made love twice more that day, each time less awkward, each time learning more about each other's bodies and desires. Between these intimate moments, we talked about everything, our fears, our dreams, our regrets. We made plans too, tentative at first, then more certain. Rebecca would return to Chicago, but we'd stay in touch. She'd come back to visit in 2 weeks. I'd drive down to see her the following month. We'd take it slow, see where it led. Maybe nowhere. Maybe somewhere incredible. That evening, as we prepared for her departure, Rebecca held my face in her hands. I need you to promise me something, she said. Anything. Promise me that whether this works out between us or not, you won't go back to hiding. You've learned that you're capable of connection, of intimacy, of love. Don't forget that. Don't let fear lock you away again. I promise, I said. If you promise me something too. What? Promise me you'll stop feeling guilty about moving forward. Miguel loved you. He'd want you to be happy, to live fully, to find love again if you can. Honor his memory by living, not by making yourself a martyr to grief. I promise, she whispered. We kissed goodbye in my driveway, neither of us wanting to let go. Finally, she pulled away and got in her car. 2 weeks, she called through the window. 2 weeks, I confirmed. I watched her drive away, and for the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel the crushing weight of loneliness. I felt possibility. That was 6 months ago. Rebecca and I are still together, navigating the complexities of a long-distance relationship that started in the most unusual way. We see each other every other weekend, alternating who travels. She's introduced me to her friends, and I've introduced her to Emma, who adores her. We're taking things slowly, both of us still healing, still learning how to be in a relationship. The physical intimacy has gotten easier, more natural, though I still have moments of insecurity about my lack of experience. But Rebecca is patient, and I'm learning that vulnerability in bed, admitting when something isn't working, asking for guidance, is its own form of intimacy. More importantly, we've both learned that healing isn't linear. Rebecca still has days when she misses Miguel so much it physically hurts. I still have days when my old fears and insecurities resurface. But we face these days together now, supporting each other through the difficult moments. The title of this story sounds scandalous, maybe even crude. I was still a virgin at 33. Until the widow spent 3 nights in my bed. It sounds like a cheap thrill, a tawdry encounter. But the reality was so much more profound than that. Yes, Rebecca taught me about physical intimacy during those 3 nights. Yes, we made love and I lost my virginity. But what really happened was that 2 broken people found each other in a storm and learned that they were still capable of connection, still worthy of love, still able to feel joy despite their pain. The widow who spent 3 nights in my bed didn't just take my virginity. She gave me my life back. She showed me that hiding from intimacy doesn't protect you from pain, it just prevents you from experiencing joy. She taught me that vulnerability is strength, that inexperience isn't shame, that love can grow even in the most unlikely circumstances. We're talking about her moving to Michigan next year. It's a big step, but it feels right. Emma is thrilled at the prospect of having Rebecca nearby. And I'm slowly learning to believe that I deserve this happiness, that I'm not stealing time that should have belonged to Emma or taking advantage of Rebecca's grief. I'm building a new life, one that includes love, intimacy, connection, and hope. And it all started because I opened my door during a storm and let someone in. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is be vulnerable. Sometimes healing comes from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, 2 lonely people can save each other simply by being willing to be seen, to be known, to be fully, imperfectly human together. The storm has passed. Spring is here. And I'm finally, truly alive.